that's a lot of fun. And if anybody's been so patient, that is so awesome. So,
Yeah. That
hey,
makes me
Brooke
feel better that we're
Farmer.
over here at least, and we can talk and we can enjoy this little bit of the morning.
That's right. Brooke Farmer, this is Sandy from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. And this is Monica, which you know from Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Now tell me, Monica, does Brooke Farmer still have the record for the most views of a guest?
I think he might, but I want to say we check that very often. And
Yeah.
I think that someone was creeping on
Oh,
him
Troy.
just a few weeks ago because I mentioned to Eric, oh no, I think Broke's getting ready to lose his number one slot. So
Uh-oh.
he may have been trumped by another live. I don't know for sure yet, but I'll have to go check on that one.
He's quite the competitive young man, I could tell you.
I get it. I'm the same way.
Oh, so Grace and Fire say, we're getting the same storm that Casey is going through. I wondered how his weather was. It's terrible. Hey, Blessed to Crochet. So hopefully everyone is co-streaming on their channels as well. Sandy, I see a link for Monica. I'm not sure that I see a link for yours yet.
I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Did you grab something? That's why I was looking for all the different things.
I'm trying.
So it'll be.
I normally have all my tabs open. I have 7 tabs I run open. I'm always like, and now I'm back down to 1, and I'm like, what am I going to do with myself?
Now, we do need to at least invite him. We need to invite Casey to the live. Is there a way that we can send him a link through email just in case? Thank you, Jake, for sharing. And Jake Hudson is doing songs for everyone, and it's so awesome. And Jake, I want you to do a song for this one over here, Sandy, and for Monica and for Casey from Hornsby Farms. That would be fantastic if you would do that as well.
Okay, and Ann, can you see that? It's up
I
on
do. I see the link now. That's so cool to be. I see what Casey sees. Hey, Makeup Mom and Son, I'm so glad you're here. So our topic today is the difference between water bath canning and steam canning. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's right.
All right. So, Sandy, do you do both? Do you do steam and water bath or just water bath canning?
No, I just do the water bath. I don't own a steam canner. And not that I wouldn't. I just, me and my tiny little house. There's, I had a hard enough time finding a place for my electric pressure canner.
That's right.
But I see the benefits of both.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially the older we get, the steam canner is much more light. It's not as much water.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're not going over 45 minutes, I think it does exactly the job. What about you, Monica? Do you have both?
Well, I don't have a steam bath canner, but I do both. And I recently did a video where I taught my sister. It was after our podcast was recorded. You all gave me the inspiration that we could do this and I could teach my sister how to do it. Pardon the noises in the back. I have babies pipping out. I don't know if you guys can hear those little babies. I have little chicks in the back that are making lots of noises as I get talking here. But I brought these because these are my pears. Yes, I left the skins on. And these are my pears that I did diced up, and I steam can these. I steam bath can these. I was so excited. I was semi-shamed for leaving the skins on, but I don't care. They taste fine still. But and they're still good. They still sealed. Everything was good. But then I was so confident in my abilities because I'm like so genius now that I went and did pear butter the same way. And I'm so excited because this is something that I would never ever do. Like I wouldn't have had I would have done it, but it would have been like, I would have had to do the water bath can and then I pour all the water in there. And my sister doesn't have any type of canner that is something that she can use. So electric water bath canning. Yeah. See, there you go. Mm-hmm. My sister doesn't have she has a canner, but she has a flat top stove. And so she doesn't feel comfortable canning on that stove. She's afraid she's going to break it. And it's a brand new oven and stove. So they're little baby chicks. But needless to say, I told her, I said, come over here. We're going to do something because I have learned that we can steam bath and you don't have to do it in a specialty steam bath canner. You don't have to be fancy like Miss Ann. You can do it in a pot. You can do it in an instant pot. And I think that was the thing that blew my mind. And she was like, you can do it in an instant pot? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, just be smart about it. Instant pot. And so we did. And I practiced and we did it all together. And it was amazing. And I was so excited that we were able to and I got so many jars of pears done, so much that I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. So I was very excited to learn the steam bath can and then put that into play. So yeah. Thrilled.
That's so awesome. Now, I do have one that is labeled Fruit Saver Steam Canner. I learned it actually from Lead Farmer 73. He showed us on several videos. That is incredibly convenient for me. At the time, I didn't have an Instapot, which I do now, but at the time I didn't. And it is so light because the base only has an inch or two of water, and you can pick it up and carry it anywhere you want. And it's so good. The problem is, Sandy, how long is it that you can use a steam canner for safety reasons, for the water not to boil out?
Not more than 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what the recommendation is, because that in that time your water would probably evaporate. Yeah. And if you opened it up, then it would, you got that cold temperature coming in, it's changing it, and you're maybe not done canning. So just don't can anything that's going to take over 45 minutes.
Right. And most things you water bath, you're not going to water bath more than 45 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
It's the pressure canner that you have to run longer, that kind of thing. Now, not saying I haven't kind of pushed the limit occasionally on the water bath canner when you've got stewed tomatoes or tomato ketchup or something that's very dense. It's, I have kind of sort of let it run a little bit longer. But as far as water bath canning, we have done water bath canning, and you can do it on your stove, which I'm a little nervous about my glass top stove doing that.
Yeah.
Or outside, which we have a propane burner that it has a fryer on it right now, but you can switch anything on top of the propane burner outside, and we water bath like crazy out there. So that was good. But at that time, you have to carry a big pan of water, because you need that headspace over the jars.
Yeah.
To be able to keep it. Now, Monica, can you tell us just how much water space you need to make sure when you're water bathing over your jars?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of just eyeball. I'm like, yeah, that looks plenty good. I mean, I think it's like, is it like an inch?
Yeah, 1 to 2 inches is what they usually say.
I just make sure it's high enough that it's not going to evaporate below the jar lid. So I kind of just look at it and eyeball. That's why you can't use a electric pressure canner, which I use all the time. You can't use that to water bath quart jars. You can't water bath quart jars in the electric pressure canner. Now, you can steam bath in quart jars in your electric pressure canner. I did that with some pears recently, and I did the quart jars size full in the electric pressure canner. But I would never, you can't put enough water in there to cover fully. So that's something that I wouldn't do. And you can't put them at all in an Instant Pot. So if you were going to do the larger jars, just make sure you have a lot of that headspace. And like I said, I kind of eyeball. I'm like, yeah, that's a lot. That's good. That's what I want. I always make sure it's a lot more probably than you probably, but
that's right.
Minimum of an inch.
Yeah. Nyla is asking us to please share more on the steam canner without a steam canner. And she says that if you lace a couple of pennies in the bottom of your steamer, you'll hear it when it gets low on water.
Oh, that's a good idea.
What an awesome idea. Thank you.
Well, Sandy told me about using AnyPod. She was like, you can use AnyPod, really? And then I was like, boom, mind blown. When she said that, I was like, huh, you're right. I guess that does make sense. So Sandy, if you want to use AnyPod, how do you do it?
Well, you just have to know, you have to have a lid that fits on it.
Okay.
Right. So don't do it if you don't have a lid that's going to fit on it. I always put I take my water bath rack and put that in that pot because maybe I want to do more jars than what will fit in my water bath.
Right.
And then I just fill it, I fill it up. I always put a little white vinegar in there because we have
Okay.
hard water.
Mhm.
And if I don't, it gets this like calcium buildup on the outside. Not that it affects what's inside, but I just don't like what it looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
And when it starts to boil, I'm lowering my jars in there and then I'm doing my timer.
Yeah.
But like if I want to do a lot, I have this really big enamel pot that basically fits over 2 burners.
Oh,
I have an electric stove, right? So I have
Okay.
burners. And so I'll sit it on there. And because with an electric stove, the heat is constant. You may have to turn it down if it's boiling too much,
Mhm.
but it like a glass top stove, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. And
Yeah.
that's one of the other problems if you're canning on an electric or a glass top because it isn't constant.
right.
And
Right.
then, I'm putting my lid on, I'm doing the timer, then I shut the burners off. I let it sit for 5 minutes before I take the jars out.
Okay. Now,
Now,
when
if
you're
you don't-
running this, I'm sorry.
Okay, if you don't have a rack to put on the bottom, you can put
towel.
a towel or something there. Okay, yeah.
You can put a towel. Now, I have used, when I didn't have a rack that would fit the bottom of the pan, I've used the rings because we all have the
you put
canning
it
rings.
Oh, yeah. Upside down. You put them up
Uh-huh.
the canning
I
rings
put 'em
upside down.
upside- Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah,
That's
like
amazing.
at the Amish stores, you can buy this rectangle shaped canning water bath canner. And it fits over 2 burners. And so you have to have either a gas or an electric stove for it, or you're doing it outside. Like our propane stove outside has 2 burners, so I could use it out there.
Mhm.
You have to put a towel
Oh,
in there if you
super.
don't have the rack.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of a rectangular.
Yeah,
Okay,
it,
that's cool.
it fits a lot of quarts in there.
Oh my goodness.
That's
That's
awesome.
the truth. Oh my goodness.
But
Thank
one
you.
thing we probably should talk about is what we don't can in steam canners or water bath.
Yes. Yes.
Because like I wouldn't ever can beans. Like if I was making like pork and beans, I would never do that in a water bath.
Right.
Not that Blue wouldn't do it over
Yeah.
in Europe.
Yeah,
But
Right.
for me, I have a pressure canner, so I would use the pressure canner.
exactly.
But the reason for that is, what is the reason?
Oh, anything that's low acid. So your meats, soups, for the most part, you should always do in a pressure canner. I even pressure can my broth, though maybe I could get away with water bathing that, but
I do that too.
that's probably a choice because it doesn't actually have anything but liquid in there.
Yeah. But still, I'm afraid because it does have little pieces of meat sometimes
Yeah.
in there. So I'm afraid of that. But I tell you what helps me when I understand the difference. And this is just me. Okay, y'all. I'm no expert. This is just, it helps me. I know all meat. And for me personally, any meat products
Mhm.
and anything that is really thick, like beans are really
Right.
thick,
Right.
anything that the water bath heating in that system in the
Mhm.
might not get up to the proper temperature in the very middle because of the consistency, because it's so thick
Yeah.
that it might not. And so that tells me I need to pressure can it because it
Mhm.
does have so much. That's just how I remember it. And honestly, it's from the Rose lady that taught me about
Rose red.
Rose that taught me about the electric pressure canner and the importance of understanding how you need to reach a certain temperature in the very middle of food and things
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, that's why they tell you not to can pumpkin puree
Yeah.
because it is hard to get that temperature in the center.
Yeah.
Right.
And you want to be safe.
Right.
No matter what kind of canning we're talking about, we want you to be safe.
Absolutely. Like pumpkin or squash or anything that would be thick. Anything that would be really thick would
Yeah.
be something that I would think.
Yeah.
Mm.
But for like my pumpkins, I like to just cube them and then can them. I just find that better for me. That's just, it's my personal preference.
Yeah.
I've never
think
canned pumpkin. Have you canned pumpkin before, Monica?
No, but I have pumpkins out here literally by the like bins every single year. I mean, I'm sure y'all have seen how many pumpkins we get every year for the pigs and stuff because the local pumpkin patch will
Yes.
give us all their extras. And I literally every year I'm like, I'm gonna grab one or two of those. I'm gonna can me up some pumpkins. And I never do. This year I'm going to, now that I'm like a pro canner, not really. But now that I feel like a pro canner,
Yeah.
then I'm going to try something new. But I think, like Sandy was saying, there's a way around it, right? You're not supposed to puree it and put it in there, but you're going to puree it anyway, probably when you're done with it, when you crack it open. So why not just cube it and put it in there? And that way you're avoiding some of the things that are possibly, things that are possibility of getting you sick or something that's going to cause your jar to pop, your seal to pop, and then you lose all that work you've done. So yeah.
Lisa, Justice Carroll at Lazy Days, she is the canning queen, and she says pumpkin's so easy. It's kind of like potatoes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it's something I'm going to try. I mean, I might as well.
Welcome in, Cape Cod Life. Yep, that's right. That's right. So, okay. We had there was a question. There's never a silly question. And if you guys have any questions as far as in the chat, please speak up and ask them, because if we don't know, we'll say we don't know. But I am interested in helping people relax and understand that in steam bath canning, it's the same time, the same process. Everything is the same as far as water bath canning. It is nothing like pressure canning at all, as far as a specific steam canner. You got a little hole in the back where the steam is releasing, and the top kind of rocks and rolls. But I love it. Hey, Jersey Dolphins. I love it because you can steam bath one jar if you want to. You can steam bath, but what we discussed a little earlier is that you can steam bath even in things that are not steam bath canners, right? You put a towel in the bottom, you have that water that's in there. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you do, right? You just put the towel in the bottom, and then you can steam bath and whatever you want. Yeah,
I like water bathing, and I know it's heavy. I understand that it's heavy, but there are ways around that too. You can fill your canner halfway up, take it over to the stove, and then take a pitcher and just fill it up with water. Same way when you have to get the water out, you can put that pitcher in there and dump part of it out before you're comfortable to lift it up. I just lift it up and drag it over there.
You're the beast, Sandy. That's awesome. And now that my arthritis is better, I could probably do that. But there was a time where I couldn't even pick up a cup of coffee or pour coffee from a coffee pot. My wrist and hands were so painful. And I'm a lot better. So I could do that. So and when I shared that experience of having issues with the strength in my hands, then there are many other people out there too that have that. So there are workarounds as far as still being able to kind of water bath can, but it's through steam canning. So
I think the idea too is if you could do it in an Instant Pot or electrically, you're able to do something without having the proper stove. And so I think that's that was the appeal for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this because I do have an electric pressure canner, but my sister doesn't. And I even, when we did our video, I was even like, hey, this is one of those things that not everybody has what you need to do all the things. And so, but if you have one, you have an option. So that's why I was telling my sister, I said, you have an option. She's like, I can't, Monica, I can't do it on my stove. I don't have the electric pressure canner like you do. And I'm like, you can do it with an Instant Pot. And she was like, what? I'm like, yes, that's what my podcast peeps told me. And she was like, we're going to do it. So yeah, you went from, like she just went from feeling handicapped, like she couldn't do it, to feeling very empowered. And, I even asked her yesterday, as a matter of fact, I said, did you get more pairs? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to work on that this weekend. So she doesn't need me. She's going to
Right.
do it on her own. And that was a win for me. I was like, that's great, because she feels capable and enabled to do something that she would have never done normally. So if it's,
Okay.
even if it's just jams and jellies and things that you only can water bath,
Right.
she has options. And it's only in smaller jars. She's not doing quart jars. You can't do quart jars in that Instant Pot,
Right.
but it's an option.
Okay,
Right.
I got a question for Anne.
Okay.
Now, I know what a steam bath looks like. I've
Right.
seen it online. But what my question is, so you're putting the water in the bottom,
Hmm.
you're putting your jars in there, you put the lid on. Does the lid lock?
It
Or
does not. It
Okay.
just lays on it like a regular pot lid.
Okay.
Because and then sometimes the steam will rock and roll. It has a rack in the bottom that is made for the pan, that fits the pan, and the rack has legs on it about an inch tall or so. So you fill up the water right to the rack. You don't
Okay.
even put it over the rack. Put the lid on, and there's a gauge at the top of the lid that is in colors for your altitude.
Okay.
And once it gets up to your color, then you kind of play with your sweet spot. You got to babysit it a little bit, but you have to play with your sweet spot to keep that needle in the color, kind of thing. So
Okay.
I see your little face, Monica. So it's different than the Instapot where you just set it and walk away. You do have to kind of check on it every now and again, because if
Okay.
it gets too hot, it'll boil all the water out of it in 20 minutes, because it's just this much water. It's like an inch of water. It's not much.
Okay. Do you start your timer once it gets to the right part of the gauge?
I do. Well, no, what I do is I put it in there. Yes. Put the water in. I get it going a little bit while I'm finishing up my jars. Put the jars in, put the lid on. When it gets up to temperature, I do wait like
Okay,
10
that's
minutes
what I wanted to know.
and then start the timer. And afterwards, I wait the 5 minutes,
Just like
After-
a water bath.
just like a water bath. I take it off of the heat, which it's easy to move, just to slide it right over. And after 5 minutes or so, I'll take it off. And by that time, it's not a pressure. It doesn't have pressure. It just has air. And by
Right.
that time, the air is kind of settled down a little
Right.
bit.
Cooled some. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. Would one of you consider doing a steamer without a steamer for those, a video for those of us who really cannot comprehend? Well,
Yeah, I just did one.
Oh, Monica did one.
Yeah, I did one on how to do it. It's called, I'm going to post it in here, how to can pears using an Instant Pot. So it was how to do it with an Instant Pot. So if you have an Instant Pot, you can do it. But I think it's basically the same principle. Now I haven't done one with a stovetop, just a regular pot. But again, I have issues with my stove in general. So I
Right.
don't really like using my stove to can anything,
Right.
because I feel like my temperatures won't really stay.
Okay, right now on my stove, I have 2 great big huge pots because I'm making V8 juice. I started yesterday. It went through the food mill this morning before we started. And
Oh, yummy.
so I can do a video today on doing it water bath and doing it a steam.
Oh, yay. Good.
I can,
That would be great. Okay, so let's make sure, if we can. Oh, look, there's His Way Homestead. If Jesse, if you will put Sandy's link as well in here in everybody's chat, mine and Monica's, then it would work out great for people to check out that video that she's going to do. And I see.
Just look for later this afternoon, so it gives me some time.
Okay.
I just posted the one I did on the Instant Pot in there. That
Awesome.
way, if you have an Instant Pot one, if you want to do a steam bath using an Instant Pot, because you don't have, you don't want to use your stovetop, you've got an option. There's one. And I put it in all 3 of our channels. That way they can
Awesome.
see it. But yes, to have one to show someone to do it on the stove is awesome.
Right.
Because that's something that a lot of people will use. I wish I had a better stove. When I get a better stove,
Okay. By
I
that,
am happy. I am happy. I am fine with what I've got. God is good, and that's all that matters. I've got the abilities, the capabilities to do it with other things. So not even worry.
That's right. That's right. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It's 12:36, and we try to keep these to 30 minutes,
Yep.
even though we were a couple of minutes late getting in. We have 31 people in here.
So I did pop the Hay Bale link in everybody's channel and everybody's chats. So if you want to check out more about Round the Hay Bale, go over to the Round the Hay Bale channel. And yeah, because we're going to give away one of these cups once we hit 500 subscribers. So make sure you click on the Hay Bale, Round the Hay Bale channel link. I can actually post it up really quick again too. And I'm going to post it really quick.
Good.
If you click the round.
Good.
Yeah.
And keep our Casey in your prayers and everybody else down there.
Yeah.
You know?
All this we do, we're praying for everyone that is affected by these storms, this monster storm that was crazy.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be a different kind of storm. And don't forget that we do have our Around the Hay Bale podcast every Monday that comes out on all of the platforms.
Yep.
And so you can listen to podcast or you can come to Round the Hay Bale and see our faces. And
We're there now.
yeah. And we love your comments and your questions and your participation, because that's what we're doing this for, is for all of you. And we appreciate all of you being here. So thank you so much. And everybody will say bye, y'all. Bye. Love you all.